Hello, my name is Matthew Pfeiffer with MattPfeifferCoaching.com. Thank you for tuning into my YouTube channel. On this channel, I talk about all things narcissism. I answer the questions of those who send in emails that have questions about their narcissistic romantic partner. Maybe it is a narcissistic family member or a narcissistic workplace dynamic. Either way, I answer any questions that are sent in to me. And if you have a question about someone that is possibly narcissistic in your life, you can send it to justaskmatt@mattpfeiffercoaching.com. Again, that is justaskmatt@mattpfeiffercoaching.com. Just make sure that the email is 2 to 3 paragraphs max, being very direct and straight to the point of what your question actually is. I have a lot of emails I have to get to, and I read the email online. And so if it's a lengthy email, I likely won't get to it. I have a lot of emails to get to. I have a lot of paid coaching clients I have to get to, and a lot of DMs on all of my social media platforms as well. So to be fair to everyone, we have to keep them very short and very concise. But the fastest way to get my attention, if you need help right away, is to book a paid coaching session by going to mattpfeiffercoaching.com. Again, that is mattpfeiffercoaching.com to book a session with me. And all of those links will be in my link tree in the description. But also make sure that you hit the subscribe button, and you also hit the bell notification so you are notified each and every time I upload a new video. I upload a new video 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. With that being said, let me get to this email. So this reads, "Hi Matt, thank you for all of your content. Your videos really do help. I have a narcissistic mother who I am currently living with because of the pandemic. This is very, very common because of the pandemic. People have to make arrangements with family members that may be toxic or narcissistic because everyone is just trying to do what they need to do. My older brother and I both moved back home so that we could find jobs, and I fortunately received a job offer a couple of weeks ago and will move out as soon as I start this job. I have for months now been setting boundaries for myself against my mother so that I could coexist in the same house." I want to pause there. There's typically nothing wrong with boundaries. But when we're talking about a narcissist, boundaries are a narcissist's worst enemy. It's like their kryptonite. They come unhinged at the thought of a boundary, especially with a narcissistic mother or a narcissistic parent who they want the enmeshment, right? They want entanglement between the two of you. They want control, especially with you living in their house. So you setting a boundary is like challenging them. So let me continue on with this. So she set boundaries so they could live in the same house, only really speaking to her when spoken to in order to appease her. So it sounds like you're trying to go gray rock, but you're also setting boundaries, and which can be very, very difficult. Recently, she let out a fit of rage because of this. First, threatening to separate my father and shut off our phones, cable, and throwing things out around the house. And then when we failed to react to these actions to her liking, she then dramatically left the house, and the next day saying that she was going to the hospital because she was so hurt. This is something that's very common with narcissistic parents, where they say that they're dying, they say that they're passing out, and they need to go to the hospital. It's something that's very, very common with narcissistic parents. So this person calling my dad, hysterically crying from her car and blaming him for not chasing after her. Again, you see the attention-seeking behavior from a narcissist. She is now back home, and my dad is partially blaming me for this behavior. This is very indicative of someone who is codependent, right? Someone who he feels that everyone needs to fall in line with the mother, right? With the narcissist in the life and in the household, right? He has probably done this pretty much the entire marriage, that, just caved to. When you have a narcissist in the home, regardless if it is a parent, regardless if it is a significant other, everyone has to literally cave their own identity, not even just not just your own wants, but in your own needs, but your own identity to appease the narcissist. And this is a big problem. And you're seeing this problem coming out here. Instead of looking for compromise, it's whatever it is that this narcissistic mother wants, is what this father is saying. So this father is begging her to just be nice. She put in quotes, and that she is being this way because of our now lack thereof relationship. Do I pretend to be nice until I move out of the house soon in order to keep the peace for the rest of the family, or do I stand my ground? So this is a very good question, and what you want to do is so it's not just being nice. What you are looking for and what you're looking to do is called gray rock. And I saw that you were doing this somewhat, right? What you have to understand, let me go into narcissistic rage for a second, right? So narcissistic rage is when a narcissist begins to act out like what she did, the way that you described this. And one of the things that so where your father is incorrect, right? Just being nice to a narcissist is not going to prevent that type of behavior. So when we talk about a narcissistic rage, we have to talk about narcissistic injury. So when you cause narcissistic injury, they can act out the way that you described in the email. The problem is that who determines what the narcissistic injury is? The narcissist. So you literally could walk into the house and let's say that you said hello to everyone, but your tone had a certain inflection to it. The narcissist can interpret that as, oh, she's pissed off at me. And then all of a sudden, there's another narcissistic rage episode because you didn't have the right tone. This is the reason why a lot of people who are in narcissistic relationships feel like they're walking on eggshells because they can't do anything right. No matter what you do, it sends them into a rage. They put you in what's called a double bind. No matter what you do, you made the wrong decision, and they light you up for it. So where I disagree with the father is about just being nice. You want to go gray rock. You're doing the right thing in terms of, I would stay out of the house as much as possible. I mean, the countdown is on. I mean, you have a plan in place on when you plan on leaving. So stay out of the house as much as you possibly can. When you are home, maybe you stay in the room and you stay out of her way, so to speak, and you go gray rock. And what I mean by gray rock, right, is that she is going to light up. She is going to get pissed off about something. She is going to go into another one of these rages for whatever reason she chooses to. And when she does, you stay gray rock. You stay that monotone, that someone who is not giving in to the reaction, understanding that not only her, but your dad is also going to blame you for these rages and these fits. Where you also have to be careful is that the closer that you get to the time that you need to leave, more than likely she's going to do things to sabotage this, her and your father. Your father, even though he may not be narcissistic, he is an enabler, right? He's someone that we would consider like a flying monkey that is going to do anything that this narcissist is asking and telling him to do, for guess what? For his own survival. So be careful as far as letting your parents know in terms of when you're planning on leaving. And the way that I would keep the peace is not so much keeping the peace in the home, but keeping the peace within yourself and within your own mind. And you also just understand that there's light at the end of the tunnel, that you have a plan in place on when you plan on leaving, and continue to execute that. Let that be your focus. Stay out of the house as much as you possibly can, in your room as much as you possibly can. Long story short, out of her way as much as you possibly can. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you have a question that you would like to send in, send it to justaskmatt@mattpfeiffercoaching.com. If you'd like to book a coaching session, go to mattpfeiffercoaching.com to book a session. And until then, I will talk to you later.